What's going on YouTube? I'm Jeremiah and welcome back to another video on the Evolve Today channel. Now today, we're talking about a very understandable and relatable topic. How God's plan can sometimes feel frustrating. Now I can definitely attest to this because there's been times in my life where I had plans for myself and God's plan felt way off, way foreign from what I imagined my life doing. And I truly had to learn how to first accept and second navigate through God's plan. Now before we get into today's topic, go ahead and interact with the video, like, comment, subscribe, join the Evolve Today family if you're new. And with all that being said, let's get right into today's video. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that God's redirection is never without reason. With God's redirection, there always comes a reason. Sometimes it's a reason that you cannot yet see or understand, but God is so intentional about how He redirects our plan. There was a time in my life where I had this big crush on a girl. I'm young, and this was in high school, and I wanted to get to know this girl so badly, but I don't know, something was holding me back, and something just stopped me from really going up to her, approaching her, and getting her name and a contact. Now give it a week or two or a month later, and I asked my friend about her. I asked him oh, do you know her? And how is she? And he did know her, and he told me that essentially her values and goals didn't really align with mine at all. Now that's not saying anything negative towards her, but I didn't have an understanding of her. And so my plan, if I would have got to know her, wouldn't have been realized in the way I imagined it. And so I felt in my spirit not to really progress with that, and that was God's way of redirecting me. I want you to know that disappointment is always divine protection. There are going to be things that we want to pursue in our lives. There are going to be things that we want control over. There will be times where we just feel like our lives are not in our hands at all, and it's going to come with disappointment. But I want you to know that that disappointment is not all sad. It's not all limiting. When God takes things out of our lives or makes changes, it's not to make us sad or mad or upset or to give us a boring life. It's protecting us from things that we cannot see, from things that may happen in the future that God doesn't want for His children. Understanding begins when you stop trying to understand everything God does. Because there are things that God does that are just out of our understanding, out of our control. We're not going to understand it. We're not going to comprehend it because we haven't seen all 80 years of our life. We haven't seen all 90 years of our life. We don't know what could have happened as a result of staying in that position. And at that level, it's just trusting God. It's coming down to understanding that He has our best interest at heart and having faith in that. I also want you to know that hidden potential and growth cannot be uncovered the easy way. Sometimes things feel frustrating because they consistently make us feel uncomfortable. We're standing up in front of the class and giving that speech, or in front of the office and giving that presentation. We're making steps and strides to lead our soccer team or football team or basketball team, even though it makes us feel anxious and nervous. And this can be frustrating. But that growth that we seek, that next level that we aspire to one day step on, requires discomfort, and it requires doing things the right way, doing things the way that God intends us to do it, not the easy way, not the simple way, not the way that allows us to stay in our comfort zone and allows us to stay where we're used to being. It's true, the unknown frustrates us, all of us. But how we react to the unknown, how we maintain that relationship with getting uncomfortable, makes all the difference in how much we can grow. If you're somebody who wants to consistently grow, change, and evolve, you will have to be uncomfortable. My greatest example of this is I'm a freshman in college and I'm in a couple lectures. My main lecture is about 100 people, and I come up with questions every single lecture. I'll write them down in my notebook and I'll just ponder them. And I'm like, I want to ask the speaker this question, but what if it sounds stupid? And what if she laughs at me or he laughs at me? Or what if the class looks at me crazy? Or what if it's just not that insightful of a question? But I had to talk about networking and about how you have to make your voice known. And this changed my entire outlook on question asking in lecture. Before I would just sit during the 20 minutes of question time and just listen to other people ask their questions. Listen to other people grow in their understanding of the topic. And I'd sit there and take the crumbs and take whatever was left, never getting my own question answered. But last Thursday, I didn't let that happen. I got uncomfortable. I raised my hand, knowing that I might stutter or might mess up on my words. But what happened might surprise you. I said my question clearly, eloquently, and confidently because I knew that if I didn't have my voice heard, I could not be mad at anybody else but myself for my question not being answered. And that goes for every single thing in life. You have to be confident enough to have your voice be heard. And you have to remember that you're God's child, so your voice has weight and value. Your voice deserves to be heard. You have to believe that though. The final thing I want you to know is that sometimes God ends our plans because our plans have the potential to end us. There are things we can't see, and that goes without saying. But we have a Father, we have a source, a sustainer, and a leader who is willing to make decisions on our behalf for our best interest. And yes, like I said earlier, sometimes those decisions aren't what you would have chosen. You get your test, you want to choose B, but God is saying D is the right option. And in your understanding, you're like, man, I don't know, I think it's probably B. But God is saying, no, my child, it's D, trust me. And that's a dumb example, but the point is, your life will be more fruitful when you stop desiring control over every little thing. When you trust that there's some learning that might need to happen as a result of your decisions not coming to pass. And that your faith needs to be strong in the fact that God has your best interests at heart. It is His priority. He has seen the beginning and the end of your life. Now, He gives us free will to make our decisions, but He has a plan for us. And our life will have its best outcome if we trust that and follow that plan wholeheartedly. All right? Well, that's all I got for you guys. I hope this video helped you. If it did, let me know in the comments section. I'd love to hear from you guys. We've been having so much participation in the comment section, almost so much that I haven't been able to read every comment, but I'm still getting my MacBook out in the mornings, at night, reading comments, liking comments, replying to you guys. So I appreciate the communication. And with all that being said, let's continue to grow, change, and evolve, not just today, but every day. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.